Hello, scumbags. We are one with the Force, and the Force is with us. I'm Andrew Fantasia.
And Rob McDonald.
And this is Vote of No Confidence. Here's how this works if you're new to the game. Vote of No Confidence, Rob and I have been presented with a topic. James and Brock gave us a topic. They flipped a coin, and Rob has to argue one side of the topic, whatever he flipped, and I have to argue the other side. Now, we might not necessarily even be arguing what we ourselves believe, but like I said, this was random. There was a coin flip, so we have to do this to the best of our abilities.
Yeah, so again, this is called the Vote of No Confidence. So it's essentially we are two senators to you guys, which is the Galactic Senate, and we are posing our sides. We are giving you our arguments, and then you guys decide who won, who had the better argument. Was it Andrew? Was it me? Comment below, and you guys will decide.
So what we're going to be arguing today is very, very controversial. It's going to be, will Luke Skywalker lie to Rey about her parents?
Yeah, so this would have been a topic, or at least something that I brought up in an Unleash episode that would have been previously when James and I were on, and we were just talking about Rey in general and her origin, and I just brought this up as a possibility as to what would happen here. So the side that I'm taking in this version is, once again, yes, and you are taking no.
I'm taking no. I believe he will not lie.
So going back to exactly what I said there, it was pretty much that Luke is a Jedi, and much like Obi-Wan and whatnot, I think that Rey's origin and whatnot, like I think Luke knows knowledge as to what her origin is, as to who she is and where she's from, and that her parents, that he is going to tell her that they are just nobodies, kind of similar to what Obi-Wan said to Luke, where he's just like, your father was killed by Darth Vader and is actually Darth Vader. So it just seems to be a chronic thing that I was thinking that's similar with Jedi, where they're sort of chronic liars to their Padawans, at least in the original trilogy. But Yoda doesn't even reaffirm it either to tell him what the truth is. He kind of lies to him at the same time, and therein lies what I think that will happen with Rey. Luke will tell her that her parents are nobodies, and that when in reality he has lied to her, and that perhaps he is in fact her father, or it is somebody else. Perhaps it is Kenobi, and to even go darker, perhaps she is a Palpatine. But regardless, I think that he's gonna lie to her about who her parents are.
Well, I respectfully disagree. I think that Luke is going to be upfront with her for a few reasons. Namely, the first one, like you say, Luke was misled by Obi-Wan in the past. He about both his father and his sister. Those were both things that were kept from him, or where the truth was altered. He probably wouldn't want to do that to another person, knowing what he had to go through. Who knows? Maybe knowing Vader was his father going into Bespin would have been bad. We don't know. That's a what-if story for another day. But maybe, the pain he felt from having to learn that the hard way. Because that was the hard way. When Vader tells you that he's your father, and after just chopping off your hand and mutilating you and leaving you almost to die, hanging over a chasm, that is the hard way to learn who your father is. So he would probably want to spare Rey that pain. I mean, if Snoke is Rey's father, completely just hypothetical, and Luke knows this, and he sends Rey off to fight Snoke, and Snoke is just like, he does something to her, he stabs her or something, or he cuts her arm off, and then he's like, by the way, I'm your daddy. She's going to be feeling a lot of pain in that moment, both physical and emotional, because this horrible man is my father. Luke, he wants to learn from the mistakes of the past and not repeat them. And I think that also is what he's trying to do with the Jedi Academy, the new Jedi Academy he tried to start. So I don't think he would necessarily let Rey walk into something where he knows that this revelation is going to come, and it's going to come in a very heavy-handed way.
Oh, no, it certainly could, and it has a history of doing that. But the thing is, just in general, when there are father figures, and like when you and I are kids and our parents, tell us to do something and we don't want to do it, we don't know. We don't want anything to do with this, and they either lie to us, whether it's about Santa Claus's thing. I'm sorry if there's any kids that think that Santa Claus is still real when watching this. I don't want to be. I'm very unhappy if I'm the one that just let you know that Santa Claus is not real. But it's just a thing that they do to hide people from the truth at the moment. And I think that, yes, obviously Luke, just learning of it that way could be a lesson for him to be just like, I'm going to do things different. But at the same time, when a lot of kids, when they grow up and they become fathers themselves, they tend to teach as to the way that their fathers taught them or their parents taught them. So I think that perhaps in this time, Luke might have opened up to the idea that, perhaps some information needs to be hidden from them in a way, and perhaps for writing's sake, this could be one that maybe he has a better reason than Obi-Wan did for lying to Luke. Mm-hmm. But regardless, the fact that he would treat Obi-Wan as perhaps a father figure to him, especially in the way that Rey would have to Han or whatnot, something that an influence that he didn't have, especially in the Force, would influence him to take a mantle, take a stance that Obi-Wan took and that Yoda took, and use their way of teaching or way of looking at life to tell Rey that, to hide this to Rey, that she is either his daughter or Palpatine's daughter. Palpatine's daughter would be something very interesting, and one that he would certainly perhaps could have a very good reason to hide this information from.
I agree. That is something that if she was the heir of Palpatine, that is something that would probably that's news you have to break gently. Okay, that you can. However, I think that doing what Yoda did or doing what Obi-Wan did is repeating mistakes of the past that can be avoided. For example, if I was Luke Skywalker, and this is just one small problem I would have with what Obi-Wan did. If I was Luke Skywalker, I would much rather have preferred to know Leia was my sister before I got the hospital. That's information that I could have used, back in a new Hope. Yeah. I'm like, Poe Dameron is a very good-looking man. If Poe Dameron is Rey's brother, again, pure hypothetical, I think it would benefit both Luke and Rey and Poe if Luke told Rey this before she decides, hey, I'm going to show up at Poe's apartment with a bottle of champagne and a box of space condoms. I think that some information needs to be given before people make decisions that they will regret in the future. I mean, I'd be embarrassed too. If I was Luke and I found out,
I think we all would.
Yeah, if I found out I've been hitting on my sister for 3 years and we made out a couple times, I would also leave and go to an island and nobody would hear from me again. So I think that it would behoove him to sort of give Rey, at least these important tidbits to be like, just so you know, I know Poe Dameron is fine, but there's other fish in the sea. I mean, Finn's a good-looking guy. Why don't you go for Finn? You guys, you don't share a parent, so you have my blessing. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, that's definitely an extreme, I think, to go. And yeah, I understand that. That could be a reason why he would not want to lie to her, but to go that direction where they're actually gonna do the deed or whatever, we can be a little PG about this. Regardless, to go that far and to expect that's where something like this could go would be very dark, and perhaps we can forgive Luke after doing something like that. But all I'm saying is that if it is something, I think that whatever this revelation is going to be, the way that we've been conditioned to be like, hey, with all these videos, it's like, hey, it could be this, Rey's parents could be this person, Rey's parents could be this, or it could be this person. It's a very interesting storytelling way, I think, to not only first just tell them it's like, okay, no, it's not one of these people, but then double back and say that it is actually one of these people, in that it would not only serve the story, I think, in an interesting way, and also pay homage to the way he was taught. Because regardless as to whether, he disagrees, obviously, perhaps he should have known that his Leia was his sister. That information could have helped him. But at the same time, the pain that it could have caused him to know that Vader is his father could have been something. And especially in a scenario, and whatever they're going to set up, and I think they will set up a very interesting scenario where if it is Palpatine that's her father or grandfather, let's say, because that makes more sense timeline-wise, I think, that he would lie to her for a reason to protect her. And so that is why I think that he is likely to lie to her, especially if her parents' reveal is a big thing and something that would behoove her to know this information later rather than now.
Well, again, those are
it's
all
all
good
speculation.
Points. Those are all,
yeah.
I think that at the end of the day, the audiences of 1980 are very different from the audiences of 2017, and I think that if in The Last Jedi, Luke gives Rey and thus us a piece of crucial information regarding her parents that 2 years later in Episode 9 turns out to be a falsehood, I think you might have a lot of angry film goers on your hands. A lot of people would be like, why did you lead us on for 2 years? Was that just a ploy? Was that just to get people talking, to get, to sell toys, whatever? It would feel, back in the day, you could do that kind of thing and it's like, oh, neat, a little storytelling twist. But now, because everything is so much more commercialized and out there and everybody is speaking instantly online and there's so much more discussion, it would feel more like, even if this isn't Disney's intent, it would feel more like just a cheap way to get people riled up about one thing and then turn it on them at the last second.
Well, regardless, I think that whatever her origin seems to be, there's going to be upset people no matter what, right? Because there's people that I think 100% that she's a Kenobi. There's people that think 100% she's a Skywalker. Think that 100% she's a Palpatine or whoever.
Or Greedo's aunt.
Yeah. I tend to side that she could very well be a Watto, but regardless of the fact, there are people that are going to be disappointed by that no matter what. And I think that there's a way that in which him lying to her could benefit people that think one way or the other, because then to know that at first she is nobody, like that her parents were essentially just people that died or whatnot, not that she can't find, would satisfy people who like hate all these scenarios and who she could be, and just be like, okay, thankfully she's nobody. But then I think it could be a very poignant moment if they chose a perfect moment in Episode 9 for him to tell her that, whether it's him on his deathbed or before he's about to die or whatnot. For him to reveal that information could be just such a strong beat in this story to take Rey in such a interesting scenario, whether it's to a bad direction or whether it's a good direction. I mean, there's been several theories that perhaps she's going to turn to the dark side. Perhaps this will be the way, and maybe Luke will will very much regret lying to her at that point then. But it's a very interesting thing, I think, to talk about and to forecast, because that's all this is a forecast.
Yeah, exactly. And either way, Lucasfilm Story Group, you have your work cut out for you.
Yes.
Well, I think that has been Vote of No Confidence. So guys, let us know, who do you vote for? Will Luke lie? Will Luke tell the truth? Chime in. Vote now. Vote now. And we'll see you next time on Vote of No Confidence.
Hey scumbags, thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up on our video. As always, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rebel Scum Podcast, for all the latest videos.